Hi everyone, I'm Randy Peterson, and along with Storm Bowling Products and Rotogrip, we're here today to talk about some basic bowling techniques. Well, let me just tell you, I was a 13-time titleist on the PBA Tour, and I'm going to give you some great tips today to help you be a winner. Here's what we'll be covering in today's video series. How about choosing the correct approach for the type of bowler you are? Hey, whether you're a beginner, a league bowler, or a tournament bowler, we've got the right approach for you. We're going to talk about a 4- and 5-step approach. We're going to explain to you about timing and how it works. We'll talk about some fundamentals and tips. We're going to do a demonstration on the correct setup, position, stance, push away, arm swing, and how to develop a pendulum swing. We're even going to talk to you about the release and the follow through. We'll explain lift, a straight ball release, and a hook release. All of this and much more, so stay tuned. Hey, let's talk about some of the things that you got to do before you get out on the lanes and start throwing a lot of strikes. I mean, we've talked about the accessories. Make sure you've got your bowling tape. Make sure you've got your towel. Make sure you got rosin or powder if you use that on your thumb. The other thing is, I think is a big deal, you want to make sure that your slide shoe is going to match up with the approach that you're bowling on. In other words, you want to make sure that you get out there and you test the approaches to see if they're real slippery or real tacky. After that, do some stretching. Work those hamstrings out, work the quads, get some shoulder stretches going, get that wrist limbered up. Now you're ready to go out there and throw a lot of strikes. Hey everyone, Randy Peterson. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a 13-time titleist on the PBA Tour, and recently I was voted the 35th greatest player of all time. And I've been fortunate enough to be with the Storm Bowling Company for many, many years now. You know, Storm has been the #1 bowling ball on the professional tour for quite some time. So let's get started with some basic bowling techniques to help you throw more strikes. Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, what I want you to do is I want you to start the right hand, the ball, and that same foot together. So if you're right-handed, the right hand bowling ball and first step, which would be with your right foot, go together. If you're left-handed, just turn it around. Hey, we've talked about the 4-step approach. Now I'm going to talk about the 5-step approach, and it's real simple. All you're going to do is add an extra step without moving the bowling ball. So for right-handers, that would be the left foot moving first, then the right foot and the bowling ball moving together. That's going from 4 to 5 steps. Why would you do that, you ask? Well, a lot of times you might want to generate more ball speed. You add an extra step, get the feet moving a little bit faster. Hey, voila, instant ball speed. Next, we're going to talk about how timing works. You know, all of my teachings throughout the world, I get asked a lot, hey, how does timing work? It's real simple. Timing is when and how the ball is initiated into the swing. So for example, if the bowling ball is initiated very, very quickly and very fast before any steps are taken, we call that early timing. So what that does is it forces the feet to run to try to catch up with the arm swing and the bowling ball. On the flip side of that, if we start walking before we push the bowling ball, now we're going to have real late timing. So the feet are going to slow down so that the swing can sync back up. One of the keys or one of the tips I'd like to give you to put you in time is I want you to imagine that there's a string tied from the back of your hand to the big toe on your right foot if you're right-handed. The hand and the foot cannot work independent of one another. They have to work together. So for perfect timing, that right foot and that hand have to move together. And if you have a shoulder-high backswing or just slightly above shoulder-high, I want the bowling ball to be at about a 45-degree angle when you push the ball away from you. This will set you up and put you in perfect timing and give you the best opportunities to throw a lot of strikes. Hey, coming up next, we're going to talk about the correct way to set up and also how to create a pendulum. Randy Peterson with you once again, along with Storm Bowling Products and Rotogrip, and we're still talking about basic bowling techniques. Today we're going to talk about the correct setup and how to create a pendulum arm swing. Hey, let's talk about setup for a minute. Bowling is a sport. In any sport, you need to have good posture and a good setup. That means good weight distribution. You never see anybody in bowling that was any good leaning way back like this to start or leaning too far forward. You want to have your knees bent slightly, you want to have your weight distributed evenly, because remember, you're carrying a heavy object and you got to transport that object, about 10 to 12 feet or so. So it's important to get a good, sound, steady base before you start your approach. Hey folks, let's talk about creating a pendulum arm swing, okay? I think the best way to do that is by taking a page out of a lot of professionals' notebooks, and that is we want to use gravity to create that pendulum swing. Remember, we talked about pushing the ball away and getting it at a 45-degree angle once we push the ball away from us. After this happens, I want you to allow gravity to make that bowling ball and that arm move back and forth. Remember, gravity is a constant. It's the same every single day. Even though our bodies change and our feelings change from day to day, gravity never changes. If you employ gravity in your swing, I promise you, you'll be a better bowler. Coming up next, we're going to talk about release and follow through. Also, a straight ball release versus a hook ball release. All of this is going to help make you a better bowler. Today we're talking about release and follow through. Let me give you my take on the proper bowling release and the release that I see every day on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Think about the bowling ball as being a round object with a straight line going down the middle. And that straight line would represent the equator. What I want you to work on is getting your hand to the inside part of that equator. At the bottom of the swing, when it comes time to let go, thumb comes out first and the hand rotates just to the other side of that equator. It's almost just a quarter turn. A lot of times I see people over-rotating, overturning, and all it does is make the ball spin. What we're trying to do is create roll and turn. And the best way to do that is start from the inside part of the bowling ball. Hey, let's talk a little bit now about follow-throughs. Now, back when I was growing up and learning to bowl, boy, everybody taught that big, long, high follow-through. Well, that was great if you wanted to throw the ball really straight. Well, in today's modern game, you're not going to see that kind of follow-through. In fact, most of the professionals that I watch have a very short, very abbreviated follow-through. All of this, along with the equipment that we're using today, creates a lot of power. Well, there you have it. We've given you a lot of information. We learned how to choose the correct approach based on the type of bowler, whether we were a beginner, a league bowler, or a tournament bowler. We also learned the difference between 4- and 5-step approach. We learned about timing, fundamentals, a great tip on getting the bowling ball and the feet to start together. We even demonstrated the correct setup position, stance, push away, and we even learned how to create a pendulum swing. We talked about release and follow through. We learned how to make a ball go straight and make the ball curve when we wanted to. I'm Randy Peterson. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, bowl up a storm. See you next time. Hi everybody, Randy Peterson back with you once again for Storm Bowling Products and Rotogrip. We've been talking about how to select the right ball for you. Well, once you've made that right selection, let's talk about how to maintain, how to clean that investment. It's real simple. Remember, if the bowling ball is a reactive resin ball, it's going to have pores, and dirt and lane oil is going to get trapped inside the pores. So what I want you to do is simple. After every 3 games, find an all-purpose cleaner that's designed to clean bowling balls. I just so happen to have one right here made by Storm. Storm's all-purpose cleaner. Real simple. You spray it on, you wipe it off, a little elbow grease, and voila. What this is going to do is it's going to help maintain the integrity of that bowling ball, keep it curving on those slick lanes, but it's also going to help make your bowling ball last longer. Let's talk a little bit about ball surface and how the surface of the bowling balls can be altered to kind of fine-tune that bowling ball for your game once you've made the purchase. And again, this can all be done at a good pro shop. Now what I have here is the same identical bowling ball with 2 completely different surfaces. As you can see, this ball has been sanded and this ball is polished and shiny. And what this does is it gives us the opportunity or the options to fine-tune the equipment perfectly for your game. If you need a little bit more hook, guess what? You can take it into your pro shop, he can scuff it up a little bit, all of a sudden that bowling ball is going to start to grab that oil. Let's say we've got a little bit too much hook, we want the ball to go a little bit longer before it starts making our break. I bring it back to my pro shop operator, I ask him to put a little ball polish on it. All of a sudden now, I can actually see my face and shave in this thing. I know it's going to go longer and straighter. Well, there you have it, folks. We've covered a lot of information. You know, we've talked about what type of bowler you are. Are you a beginning bowler, league bowler, or tournament bowler? We've talked about how to select the right bowling ball. We've even talked about how to lay those bowling balls out when you decided on the perfect ball for you. We've talked about being able to fine-tune the surface. Talked about how to care for it to protect your investment. Man, I tell you, with all of this information, I expect big scores. See you next time.